What up, Bucs fans, NFL fans, and gambling fans? Welcome to Pewter Picks and Props, the Bucs and NFL edition of the show. I'm your host, Matt Matera from PewterReport.com, and Pewter Picks and Props is brought to you by Splash Sports. Join over 2.5 million people playing on Splash Sports. It's the home for Survivor, Pick'em, and QuickPicks, which you can do weekly. Whether you want to create your own contest with friends or take a shot at life-changing prize pools, Splash Sports has got you covered. Start your weekend off with a weekend profit boost. That's right. Download the Splash Sports app with the QR code on the screen and check what boost you can get for Splash Sports and lock in your quick picks. Turn $20 into $1,000 with the best multipliers in daily fantasy sports. Think you've got what it takes? Prove you're the sharpest fan in Bucs Nation and download the Splash Sports app to join their various leagues, pools, and like I mentioned before, their quick picks. Got the QR code on the screen right there. Let's get to it, folks. It is Bucs at the Saints, the last game for Tampa Bay before going into the bye. The Bucs are 5-2. The Saints only have one win on the season, but as they say, throw out the record books. These teams hate each other, and Bucs quarterback Baker Mayfield added so much more fuel to the fire with some of his comments that he mentioned during the week. And before we look at the spread over under in Bucs-Saints and some player props, take a quick look about what happened last week. I got to admit it, folks. I am ice cold. I know a lot of you like to call me Matty Diamonds, but I'm Matty Ice right now because my player props for the Bucs have been absolutely awful. I had another offer. I can't hide behind it. 0 on Bucs player props and overall player props as well. No one from the Lions hit either. So I'm taking a bad hit. I went 0 for 2 as well with the spread and over under. So overall, I'm 10-4 on the season with Bucs picks. Bucs player props, though, has dropped terribly to 13-21. Overall prop bets 22-27. Bright side, though, picking the NFL games, which includes the Bucs games, 25-19. So I got to dig out of a hole. And like I said before on previous shows, if I'm this bad, if I'm losing with the player props, just fade me. Whatever I'm going to say, if you go do the opposite of it, I don't blame you. My picks have been poor. I got to own up to it. But if you think I'm going to rally around, get better, if you think I'm going to continue with a high winning percentage with the Bucs spread and the over-under, feel free to ride with me. But got to show the record each week. Not looking good, but we're going to turn the page, and we're on to Bucs at the Saints, which Todd Bowles said on Friday, it's going to be an absolute bloodbath. And why? Because I think the Bucs are going to completely rebound, especially on the offensive side with Josh Grizzard and Baker Mayfield. It was a bad performance a week ago. That's why I have the Bucs covering -3.5 points. I'm also taking the over of 46.5. Yes, it's a rivalry game. Yes, it's a bloodbath. But the Bucs are going to take out their frustrations on the Saints. Not because it's the Saints, but it's because it's the next team that is up on their schedule. It's kind of like how the Lions took it to the Bucs on Monday. They had lost in a bad game to the Chiefs. They wanted to get the taste out of their mouth. So what do? They took it to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This was the worst game by Baker Mayfield on the season, the worst game by Josh Grizzard. So they are both looking for redemption. I believe they will get that redemption in the form of plenty of points for this team and overall the group just kind of taking it to the New Orleans Saints. They can create a ton of turnovers. The defense actually looked pretty good against the Lions with the exception of a couple of explosive plays. The Saints have a couple of capable players that can make explosive plays, but I trust Todd Bowles to slow that down a little bit and create a ton of turnovers. And it's going to be a bounce-back game for Baker, get into that MVP conversation, and get that bloodbath in a positive way for Tampa Bay with getting other people involved. So Bucs -3.5 over 46.5. Moving over to Bucs player props. I'm doing all Bucs player props. I have one Saints player prop, but it kind of goes hand in hand with the Bucs as well. Sticking with Baker Mayfield, I know this didn't hit last week, but I believe Baker Mayfield over 1.5 passing touchdowns is the play. The last time he only threw for 1 touchdown, he bounced back and went multiple again. He's going to try to get everybody involved. Tez Johnson, Cade Otton, Sterling Shepard, Cameron Johnson as well. We haven't seen Baker play as bad as he did against the Lions, and he typically is able to sling it and get right back on track with a better performance in the following game. I like that it's a short week. I like that he can wipe the slate clean. So Baker Mayfield over 1.5 touchdowns. I mentioned the one Saints player prop. It's going to be Spencer Rattler over 0.5 interception. So essentially, Rattler to throw a pick. We saw what Todd Bowles did to him last year in New Orleans, throwing different disguises at him. Now the Saints don't have their starting center, Eric McCoy, so that means a ton of pressure is going to come from Vita Vea and Elijah Roberts right up the middle. Vita Vea is still in the nightmares of Spencer Rattler, so that's going to cause some errant throws. Plus, Jamel Dean is having a Pro Bowl year with 3 interceptions on the season. Will he be able to get more? He's had a couple of picks in New Orleans. Could be a great opportunity for Zion McCollum as well. So Spencer Rattler to throw an interception. Emeka Buka will be playing in this game. He's played every single game this season, but he's dealing with that hamstring injury. I do have a feeling it's going to be a lot of attention spent on Emeka Egbuka, which will open up opportunities for the other receivers, the other committee, receiver by committee, that Tampa Bay will have going on. So I think it's going to be another slow week for Emeka Egbuka, which will drop his overall offensive rookie of the year status. But with having the bye week the following week, he'll regain his form following that week in a home game against New England. But because of that, I'm going to take the under on 76.5 receiving yards for Emeka Egbuka. But on the flip side, Tez Johnson is getting so much more involved and acclimated into this offense. Baker Mayfield was looking for him a ton last game. I wanted to take the over-under on his catches, which is 3.5, but I'm going to go with the safer bet of over 42.5 receiving yards for Tez Johnson, just because he has the ability for the big play. We saw the awesome touchdown that he had against the 49ers 2 weeks ago, a 45-yard touchdown reception. We saw how he can make people miss on the screen pass that went for a touchdown against the Lions on Monday Night Football. So I'm curious to see how Josh Grizzard dials up things for Tez Johnson. Will it be deep? Will it be screens? Either way, his ability to make people miss and a low number in the 40s, I'll take the over on him. Rachaad White. So with the betting stats right now in the props, you're not seeing anything for Sean Tucker. I wanted to take a lot more for Shawnee Tucks, especially in his return to New Orleans. We all know what he did last year, winning NFC Offensive Player of the Week. They don't have too many props for Sean Tucker, though, so I have to stick with Rachaad White if I'm going to look at the running game. We heard from Josh Grizzard. We heard from Todd Bowles, Baker Mayfield, everybody involved. Last game, Rachaad White had 90% of the snaps. Sean Tucker only had 10%. The Bucs got away from running the football. So while they are going to run it more, I think it's going to be very close to an overall split with the running backs. We'll see how the game is going. If it's further ahead for Tampa Bay, they'll probably run it more. If it's a little bit closer, they'll pass it a little bit more. But Rachaad White isn't getting fed the football probably the way that he should. And with Sean Tucker cutting into the number of snaps that he'll have, I'm going to take the under on Rachaad White rushing attempts. It's at 17.5. I think I'll hover right around that number, maybe at 17, but I don't see him going over 18 unless the Bucs have a tremendous, fantastic rushing game, which is very capable going against New Orleans, but I believe that Sean Tucker's really going to cut into that. I do have a defensive prop this week as well. Tyke Smith over 6.5 tackles and assisted tackles. He is leading the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in tackles. He might be the first Tampa Bay Buccaneer to lead this team in tackles that isn't an inside linebacker since 2011. Shout out to Greg Allman from Fox Sports for that stat. That was before Levante David got there. But Tyke Smith is playing everywhere. He's playing further back, a strong safety. He'll be in the box as well. He's involved on so many different plays. So if you want to dare the Saints to run the football, go ahead. You want to try to throw it? That's fine too. Tyke Smith is everywhere. And this number of 6.5 tackles is extremely low. So Tyke Smith over 6.5 tackles is probably my favorite bet out of all of this. And then my last Bucs player prop. This one is more about the overall value of it, of plus 400. I just mentioned him a moment ago. Sean Tucker to score a touchdown at any time. So Sean Tucker, anytime touchdown. I'm not saying he's going to have the same game that he did last year against New Orleans, but something might provide a spark for him to ball out in his best game of the season. He has 1 touchdown already on the year. Now going back to New Orleans, getting more snaps, more playing time. Look for him to reach the end zone. For a Pewter Parlay, I have one that is good for plus 425. Going to go Baker Mayfield over 1.5 touchdowns for everything I believe in Baker being able to reach the end zone a couple more times, getting that MVP conversation. A new one added to it, Cade Otton, over 36.5 receiving yards. He plays some of his best games in New Orleans, and he's become a big target for Baker Mayfield for really the last 3 games. And without Chris Godwin, without Mike Evans, a little bit of a banged-up Emeka Egbuka, they're going to have to turn to somebody else besides the receivers, and Cade Otton has been that guy. And then Tyke Smith, who I just mentioned a moment ago, I absolutely love his tackles, and I love this addition to the 3-player parlay, the Pewter Parlay of plus 425. Now, let's look at some NFL picks. Real quick, just a reminder to everybody to once again download the Splash Sports app. You can use the QR code on the screen. Get those quick picks in. Join some of the leagues that they have. They have weekly leagues. For example, I am doing a pick'em for just week 8. It's strictly week 8, $10 to enter. You win over $1,000. You pick every single game on the slate. So I'm very excited for that. They have plenty of other tournaments, contests, everything like that to win prizes over at Splash Sports. So download the Splash Sports app today. Looking at the NFL, got 3 picks and then 3 separate picks for parlay. These individual picks, Cowboys plus 3.5 at the Broncos. It feels like Denver should have lost 2 straight. They've somehow, by the skin of their teeth, been able to win. Dallas is such a fun team to watch. Their offense is awesome. Might end up being a shootout, but they can put up enough points to keep it close. Falcons minus 7.5, hosting the Dolphins. I don't care if Michael Penix Jr. doesn't play in this game. Maybe it's Kirk Cousins. The Dolphins are a lost cause. They're going to fire their coach. Nobody wants to play. Everyone's going to be making business decisions for Miami. So Falcons to win by 8. I'll take it. Plus, they need to bounce back from a loss against the 49ers. And speaking of the 49ers, taking them plus 1.5 at the Texans. Houston's got something going on with their offense. It does not look good. And the 49ers have gotten healthier. George Kittle is back. Christian McCaffrey is still balling out. So as long as they have those guys, they should be all right. It looks like Mac Jones is going to start that game as well. My Pewter Parlay, it's plus 116. It's all money line. Bengals, Patriots, and the Falcons. Bengals playing the Jets. The Jets are the worst team in football. Some very winnable matchups for the Patriots as well. They're hosting the Browns, and the Falcons we just talked about playing against the Dolphins. So these are high percentage odds if you just took them individually, but if you take them all 3 together, that will net you a payout of plus 116. Those are my picks for this week. I appreciate everybody watching this show. If you're not already doing so, please make sure you're following us on all of our social media on X, Facebook, and Instagram. We're at Pewter Report, and our YouTube channel is Pewter Report TV. Please like and subscribe. Leave a comment on this video, what prop bets you like, what you don't like, maybe one I didn't get to that you are a fan of. Would love to see everybody's opinions and thoughts about this upcoming game for Bucs at the Saints. Should be a fun one. Appreciate everybody for watching. I'm Matt Matera from PewterReport.com, and let's win some money.